You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. What up, mi gente? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. And today, we got a comic book entrepreneur here that's creating products to protect our gems, our treasures. This man is serving us. He's like one of those weapons makers and whatnot, building the armor to protect our books for a lifetime. He's an amazing entrepreneur. Let me introduce the man behind Crafti Comics, Mr. Dan Moyer. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. I definitely need you more in my life as my hype man and intro man, because now I just got this feeling like I'm in the Mandalorians in the Forge, not working away. But thanks so much for having me today.
No, brother, you got it, man. You do have a forge here. You know, the forge of protecting our books and whatnot. You definitely are awesome. So I was perusing the shop that you got on Instagram. And folks, don't wait. I'm gonna share that with you guys and Facebook, that way you can see what I mean in a bit. But before we get into this whole line of him being wanting to protect his books, was it a selfish dream only for himself, or what inspired him to share? Let's find out. Dan, tell us a bit about yourself. Where you from, OG?
Yeah, so like a lot of us, 2020 when COVID hit, got quarantined and stuck at home, right? And personally, during that time, I spent a lot more time collecting comic books and reading. I'm a reader first, but I love the artwork too. And I went to my wife and I said, hey, I really want to display some of these special books to me throughout the house. But when I showed her the frames that I had, they were kind of those cheap black plastic frames, right? That you can get from, a ton of places. And she said, yeah, those aren't going up on the wall. I'm sorry. And so I said, okay, well, all right, how can I win this argument in a productive way, right? And I ended up going to my friend and boss at my main company where, again, we were shut down at the time, Jen. And I said, hey, you've got this laser and you're really creative, and here's my problem, and here's kind of what I would need, and here's what's important about the comic book and depth and UV protection and acid free, and what can you do?
Wait, did you really say, here's my problem? My wife won't let me have my comics on the wall.
Pretty much, yeah, right. I can't be the only one having this problem, and in all the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, like I see, I'm not the only one with the problem.
Yeah. Homie went to a scientist, a laser engineer over here, yo.
That's like, hey, look, my wife gave me one spot of my closet where I'm able to like tuck everything away, and kind of that's the position I was in, right? Because it was either, well, I get a small corner and I can do it with the stuff I've got, or I can try to do something a little bit better. And so Jen made up the first prototype of, I have some of our frames behind me here. I'm at home, like I told you, because I'm sick today. But as you can see, it's not just my company, but I'm a personal collector too. And really, we just started during that COVID quarantine with a one frame idea and a post to Instagram. And from there, people were interested in how they could get it. And they had different ideas. They wanted different options for the backings and border colors. And slowly over time, they wanted different, sizes for Golden Age books, all the way up to our largest one is the 11x17 for art prints you see here. And the treasuries, like we spoke about, off camera, right? Or maybe those connecting, those wraparound covers, okay?
Oh, you have something for that too? Yeah. Oh, yeah, let us see that closer.
So this is a family portrait that I had done at San Diego Comic-Con.
Nice.
And yeah, again, it's really difficult to display some of these things, right? And they end up just sitting in boxes, and we don't get to appreciate them. But now, it's really easy to celebrate the things that we collect, right? And I think that was the other focus for us and in talking to people, was realizing that, man, people really do have such unique collections and stories behind it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love, social media and getting to connect with collectors in that way, is because I always joke I get to live vicariously through some of the stuff that they have got. But the company grew organically, and we grew from a small laser, about this big, to now one that's 10 feet, and we feed giant sheets of museum quality acrylic and naturally like hand sanded wood that we all do in our facility.
Were you prepared for all this when you saw the rise in popularity? Were you prepared to engage and grind down like that? What type of homework was it? A learning curve at all?
To be honest, no. This wasn't the vision for it, right? We kind of it was just a guy who had a problem at home, and then when people had the same problem. And I'm not gonna lie, there were definitely stressful times. When we first launched, when a bunch of people wanted them, and we kind of started investing these time into it. And for the first month, we didn't get much traction at all. But then it was 1, and then it was 2, and then it was, returning customers. And now we have such great, amazing collectors that have come back to us 6, 7, 8 times. And we've helped them build really amazing walls. I've gotten the chance to just connect with some of my favorite artists, from Scotty Young, who he has all of our frames in his office, to his own work, to Pat Gleason, even Peach all the way over in Japan. We sent her some frames, and she said how much, her father enjoyed them. So it was always nice getting to talk to these people that are such big personalities, but at the end of the day, they're real people too. And a lot of the times on Instagram, I like talking to them about things that aren't comic books, like Ryan Otley. I got a chance to meet him at LA Comic-Con, and on Instagram, I started talking to him about metal detecting, and that's a hobby that I do with my son out here. And he's he's out in the Midwest and maybe getting into it too. So
there you go.
Such a unique community of.
But wait, I gotta ask it. So why did Ryan find some treasure since you got him into it? Did he owe you anything?
There's definitely a finder's fee with that. Yeah, we can negotiate that out, but.
That's awesome, folks. I want to show you right now. Start showing what he's talking about when he means amazing walls. I mean, look at some of this stuff over here, folks. Start taking a look. I mean,
yes, that's my office wall right there. Yeah. Oh man, look at these grails. Like, again, when I tell you, living vicariously through other people, like, man, these are books I'm never gonna own. These are UV display.
Never say never. Crafti Comics is going to the top, baby. Don't you worry.
That's true, man. That'll definitely be a bucket list thing I can check off. But yeah, look, for people who collect graded comics too, it's the same problem. You've got amazing stuff, but it ends up sitting in a box, and it's hard to appreciate it. But now, again, we focused on really top quality materials. It's shatter resistant acrylic. I did a video where I actually run over one of our slabs with my car and show you how
was in it.
It was an older Incredible Hulk book. And I backed over that one compared to one of the graded slabs, which obviously busted open. But obviously don't run over your comic books with your cars. But
we're not promoting that.
But hey, if it can survive that, it's definitely surviving a nail or dropping it or anything like that.
So how do I place the book in the product?
Yeah, great question.
It looks like it has a plexiglass.
I've got a couple of them behind me here. Let me show you. So this is. A Kevin Eastman sketch. This is one of my favorite slabs that I've got. Let me see how I can position it without the glare here. Okay. And you'll see it's got twin engraved mounting holes. So these frames can be hung either vertically or horizontally, depending on the orientation of the slab. You can see it's a 1-inch recessed depth that you have there. And it's a layered design. So it's simply posts and screws. So all you do is you remove the face of this, insert the slab, put it back, screw everything into the corners. And then, again, most important, I'm in Southern California, so all these things have to be earthquake proof, right? No hardware that can fail, no single mounts, where things can be uneven. We provide a hanging template. So it's really easy to create the straight lines and things. And it's really easy then to take your slabs, place them up on the wall. If I can find it up there now. There we go. and we're good. So I've got my first appearance of Miles Morales, who my son is named after. This is another one of my favorites, and I took this idea from who bought one of our frames. They had got the frames because they took blank comic books into the delivery room and had their child's very first handprints and footprints done on the blank. And I thought that was such an amazing idea that I do it with my son. we can track the growth of how big his hand gets over time and things. And so it's been nice to be able to.
Is that the same 1 inch in depth? Is that frame?
Yeah, so that's our flex frame. And let me take another version of that down here. There's a lot of different combinations and designs,
cool.
right? So this is one of my son's original art pieces here. But this is an example of our light wood backing and a blue border. But overall, there are 20 plus design combinations.
Well, so I could choose any border I want in the background. Oh, nice. And wood.
Right.
So wood, plastic. What we got? What are my backing options?
That's right. Cool. So the backing options, you got light wood, like I just showed you. You also have a stained wood, something like this. Okay. Ooh. The stained wood is personally my favorite.
Those are my colors right there. Hell yeah. I'm in love. That
there you go.
Too.
Yellow makes everything pop, I'm telling you. So you got that. And then I don't have one behind me, but we do have an all acrylic backing too for people who are looking for those minimal looks. And then for people who are looking for the tabletop display options, we've got our slabs right here.
Oh, nice. Say word. Okay. Does the comic remain in its plastic or however I want?
That's right. So here's the thing, right? The most important part, and look at the transparency, the view that you get into that book, right? Shit. This is not a view. It looks like it's going to slip out, right? But it's not. It's just so transparent. You can see the tamper-proof seals that I've added to this one.
Cool.
All right. And now let me show you our newest kind of fun feature is our Crafti Curator, which is a small now tag that sits in this slab. Think of it as our version of a digital label experience, but watch what happens when I take my phone and I just hold it up to the corner right here. You see it brings open this link and check it out. Here's now the JSA certificate of authenticity that shows you this was signed by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby.
Wow.
There's actually interior and close-up shots of the book that show you that Jack Kirby's signature on the inside.
Oh, that is so cool.
There's every detail of the book, close-up shots, all the way through to this goofy photo of me when I first bought it.
Proof of ownership as well.
And all it is this very small sticker that sits on the inside of the slab. It's completely encased in acrylic, so it's not making any contact with the book. But it's easily programmable and either lockable, so no one can ever change it ever again, or I can rewrite it over and over again if I want to swap out a different book. Really, we wanted to give people flexibility too, and that's what I learned from this experience in growing this company and listening to collectors, right? And I think I was just telling someone on Instagram earlier today, I said, hey, if you ever have ideas or there's something that you want to see, just let us know, right? Because there's really no wrong way to preserve the story of your collection. Here's another favorite one that I got from Mike Mayhew that I got signed at one of the cons where I met him. And again, the same idea, right? What if I want to preserve or express the potential value of this book? Now, when I scan the curator and back, it brings me to a dynamic link that shows the eBay sold listings for this book.
Okay.
Now, but again, a lot of people, when they're focusing on slabbing books and things like that, right? You're focused on trying to express to someone the value of that book.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah, here it is. Sorry, internet's a little slow out here, but
no worries. Oh, okay, cool.
All right, and so that's always going to update, and it's not like I had to change anything. It's you program it yourself within 30 seconds right at home after you self-slab your own collection.
Oh, this is amazing. I'm digging the product, kiddo. Shit, I got some slabs I need to get then put my babies in there.
Yeah, I'll hook you up, Al, after this.
Look at this. Look at that Spidey. See the video here? Do you hear the audio? No,
maximize the value of my work. Well, you could send your book off to one of the grading companies, but then that's right. Here's some of my favorite sketches that I've got. To the color label, to the fair market value, the turnaround time. Instead of trusting someone else to add the value to your work, if you worked with us to create your own value. What I mean by that is through our flex frames and our X slabs and our new Crafti curators, you can create unique digital experiences and tie them to physical collectibles. So maybe for one tier, you want to offer your fans a COA that's digitally linked to that book forever. And maybe a better version of that.
Kind of what we were just talking about.
Video that
and I see what you mean, though. I see it.
Best yet could be a personal shout out to a special collector. So the idea is, instead of being a one-off event with one of the other companies, you can become self-sufficient. So here at Crafti Comics, we invite you all to be part of something more creative.
I'm digging it. But every label is in fact different, though, right? Every slab comes with its own label, correct?
That's right. So that's our called our Crafti Curator, and it's something that you can implement into any frame or slab. Okay. You program it using your phone, using a free app, and you can do it in any
free app. Look at this guy, a free app. Everybody's favorite F word.
But again, so what I was talking about there too, and Al, I think it's like in when I'm looking at modern collecting, everyone really forgets that a lot of things that are now very commonplace have only existed over the last 20 years or so. And I grew up prior to grading companies, when really it was just about owning the book and having it in your collection made it cool. And when I got back into collecting years ago and I kind of saw some of the things that had changed, I was kind of like, why is this? What's the deal with this? And really what I noticed, and look, we're for people who collect a little bit of everything, because you see, I've got graded slabs and I've got raw books, but I think we've taken the focus away from the real terms of value. And in that video that I was talking about is, let's say I'm an artist or a writer or a presser, and I'm trying to maximize the value of that book. My options are to send it away to the grading company, but then I'm at the whim of what that grade comes back as, or the color label, or the turnaround time, the fair market value, like all these factors that are out of my control. Versus if I'm the artist, what if I could slab my own books and create my own digital experiences where I can offer my fans directly different options, and I can not just be a one-off event with another company, but as an artist or again a comic creator, I can become self-sufficient.
Oh my God. Brother, artists, listen, here's a free idea, artists. Imagine you getting these frames at cons, right? And basically you could record yourself drawing the piece, and that's what you program into the thing. That'll be like, yo, look at this piece. Look, this is the one, he was doing this one. My God, come on, guys, jump on it. I'm all over this. I see more as well. There's a lot more potential than that. I gave you that freebie. Look how simple for you guys to sell an even better experience, maybe make some extra cake too, you know what I mean?
That's right. I did that with a couple of these books that I recently had signed by Dan Slott at a local comic shop event. And personally, like if I have one or two books signed from someone, I'm happy. And so what I try to do at those events is get a few more books signed, and then we'll throw them into random orders for crafty customers, because it's going to make someone's day who maybe wouldn't have access to that experience. But for this round, what I did was I actually slabbed them myself, and I tied them to privately listed videos that, just like you said, show Dan signing that book, right? It's got our conversation behind it. The artist can have the video of the art being created, or maybe they can then, for an additional charge, they have a personal shout out to that collector, right? Imagine what would I pay to have a video from Todd McFarlane saying, "Hey Dan, this piece is just for you. Here's kind of my thinking behind it," and it's something that only I can access via the link that is tied to that physical collectible.
Yep. So I love the idea.
We're working with more people over here, and anyone who wants to work with us, please message us on social, email us, and let's get the conversation going.
Yeah, I think this is really going to be very useful tool for cons. If you guys want to make something special, not like you said, be beholden to that 1 year possible wait time to get something graded. I mean, a friend of mine that I spoke to last night just got his books, he said. I said, yeah, when did you send them in? He goes, oh, about a year and a half ago. I said, what?
Yeah.
I'd be freaking out. I'd be calling them monthly, weekly. Like, yo, where's my book, son? Get it done.
That's right.
I can't. I don't have the patience for this grading shit. I rather do exactly what you're doing here. Let me make my books look pretty, and they're mine.
That's right. And no better conversation starters when you have people over, they ask about it. It's fun to just share, because again, a part of the collecting is just the shared experience of, The
Look
Alex
how
Ross
beautiful
covers
that looks. Yeah, look how
always
beautiful
bomb.
that looks. Look on that frame. Look at that yellow black with that red. Coño, brother, you got something special here.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Bombast. Look how great this stuff looks. Oh man.
And look, it's funny. We go back to value, right? Like that Bombast one. That was a dollar bin find at my local comic book shop that came with the, and I just thought it was so cool. And it's Kirby artwork, and I don't care what I paid for it or what it's going for on eBay.
It's Kirby, baby.
It's fun. And because the frames, again, everything is just kind of screws and things, so it's really easy to open our displays if you want. You can swap out different books. You can even swap out different border colors. So you can
like
buy
the border though.
And get a border pack and swap out up to 7 different colors and create infinitely different looks.
Words up to 7 colors, nice. I'm digging here. I see what you did here. It really pops with that background. I see what you did, bro.
Fun tip, Freddie. I learned this because, again, I'm not a pro framer. Kind of this whole thing just happened organically, but I did learn from a pro framer is if you're looking for a border color recommendation, try to pair it with the 3rd most dominant color on the cover artwork.
I'm seeing it. It's beautiful. It's a great blend. It looks really nice.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and it's fun. Again, fan photos, when they send us stuff, we love adding them to the gallery. This is one of those Dan Slott books that I had gotten signed, and this is someone who sent me to let me know that they had found it in their order, so they were super psyched.
That looks good, though. Look at that.
Yeah.
That looks so good. Look at these folks, protect your stuff. Make it look good. He said, oh, man, stop lying. Yeah, awesome.
Oh, I just got into the Planet of the Apes books again, man. I love this series. I told you, I'm a reader first, so I'm mainly into a lot of the indie stuff right now.
So did you read the one that came out prior? That was kind of like, this is the original way that it was intended. The film, a comic graphic novel, came out a couple years ago.
Cataclysm.
Was it Cataclysm?
It was Cataclysm. The graphic novel. The one that ends up tying in like Planet of the Apes, and then Escape from Planet of the Apes. Like beneath.
Yeah, it is Boom. Yeah, it was Boom.
Second and third one. So yeah, I caught up on a bunch of series again. Dollar bin finds on a good day, and you get into reading and you go, oh man, these are Alex Ross covers too. Oh, let's take some photos of these too.
Listen, a lot of the dollar books that I used to see back in the day are now $50, $60, $70 books, and I laugh when I see this. Like, oh my god, these are literally $1.
Yep.
Not too long ago. Like, look at this. This is insane, the market. But hey, that's what it is. Oh man, with Stan, son.
Yeah, so again, this is a great this is a fan photo where he communicated with me all from like, hey, I'm at the convention, I'm getting this thing signed, I want to make sure I'm getting the right frame for it. So he sent me pictures all along the way from him, meeting and getting it signed to there it is up on his wall.
And I hope you got that right frame and made these exclusive pictures. That's cool. Wow, folks, you see this, all the good stuff. Visit. Yeah, let me pop it off. But
Al, now that I know that you're into the treasuries, I got to make sure I'll send you one of our treasury frames.
Oh man, that'd be dope.
Display those.
I got the perfect one too. The Barry Windsor Smith, the issue number 4, treasury number 4.
Yeah, the number one treasury book that fans get our frame for is the Ollie versus Superman one.
Oh man, yeah, that was there, but I was limited on books, and not for nothing, I like Conan's my shit. I couldn't say no.
Yeah,
Conan is harder to find in the wild. I hadn't seen them before. I've seen that Ali Spidey many times, so I'll find it again. But the Conan number 19 and number 15 from 77 and 78, I hadn't seen those in the wild prior, so I was like excited.
Yeah, and it's hard to find them in good shape because of how odd size they were. People don't know what to do with them. They don't fit on shelves, and so now, they go right up on your wall and create fun mosaics.
Oh yeah, man, they had some shitty bags. I had to upgrade in the bags, and those are very expensive, and it doesn't make them look good. So I would rather do something like this and give them the love they deserve.
Yeah, and we do talk to people about that, right? Like you could definitely go cheaper and go with something plastic from Amazon, from overseas, but all of our products, again, it's museum quality acrylic that we use. It's all 100% laser cut.
You figured out the acrylic. How did you even figure that out? I mean, what was that journey like, testing?
Yeah, so my partner, Jen, again, she's got a lot of experience being the CEO of our healthcare durable medical equipment company. So she's got experience in sourcing and kind of organizing and budgeting. And So she was the one that reached out and found local, suppliers, and we did research into what was the best material. And the one that we chose was TrueView. And it's funny because at a Comic-Con that we did, we had a fan who we met day one and bought one of our slabs. He came back day two with a UV tester to our booth, and he said, "Okay, well, let's see if what you said yesterday is true."
Oh,
and
what? Ew, really?
Yeah. So like for a second, I'm like my breath, I'm like my heart's pounding. I'm like,
you're like, oh shit, this is gonna work.
I got faith, but like, well, let's see what's gonna happen right here. But sure, it didn't test at 99. Sure shit enough, it tested at 100% UV protected. Now, again, don't advertise that as that, but that was a fun experience. We did post that video on Instagram of the fan doing it himself, and you can see the result. And that was definitely.
Hopefully, he said, "Oh snap!" or something like, "Wow!" Shook your hand, gave you a hug to calm you down. I know you were there, probably celebrating like you hit a touchdown at the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Yeah,
so don't
bro.
worry about light damage fading, because that's the biggest issue that collectors have with why they want their things to sit in a box, which I totally understand. You want to preserve the quality of it, but now you don't have to sacrifice those things.
Listen, I was in South Carolina once, and I had the opportunity to buy that Flash cover, the famous cover of him and the old Flash. The first time they broke the wall.
Yep.
I was about to buy. They wanted $100 for it, but what was the problem? They had it near a window all this time, and man, that cover it was like, nah, not even worth. I'm not spending $100 to look at something that is semi-faded already. Looks horrible. There's no way that would have been able to be restored the way that sun damage.
Yeah, it's a shame when you see that. And, personally, like I had a buddy who sent books away to get graded, and he came back with one that was restored. And I guess there's some microscopic change that no one could ever see unless you have very industrial machinery. But the book displays beautifully. Or you ever see that thing where it's graded this, but it's really, it displays much better or presents much better. And then what are we talking about, right? It's either the number means something or it doesn't. If it doesn't, then we have a lot more options. We have more independence, more freedom, more creativity. And I think that's what it's about.
And go back to hopefully the good old days. Come on.
That's right. But it was just fun. And like now, again, you see a lot of the content that's out there, and it's just like disappointment, or people wanting to be disappointed because the disappointed unboxings get more clicks, right? But I was watching this video of a guy, all these ASM 129s, and he's just pulling them out, and he's upset about all of them. And I'm like, I will take any of those copies. Right?
Here's my address, homie.
I don't have that in my collection. And it just got me thinking, remember when it was just cool to have the thing, and we could determine our own value. And look, I do understand in doing the research and looking at, why the grading companies came to fruition back in the day when it was necessary to centralize things because people didn't have access to any information in their phone instantly, right? Where we could compare photos of signatures, or we could ask our peers in social media groups their opinions, or we could do our own research. Things have changed. And so for that reason, I think it's time that our collecting mentalities maybe change a little bit too. And we try to get back to how it was when it was just more, open and fun.
Yeah, exactly. Stop the bickering, folks, and just get back to the fun. Yeah, man, the collectability. That's what I was doing. Shit. It was good stuff. All right. But folks, this is what you gotta do. Dan's the man. For real. He got a wonderful product out there. Crafti Comics on both Facebook and Instagram. I'm sharing the links below as well. You can just go ahead and click away, and show the love. Support an amazing up and coming, indie creator like this that's bringing us the business. Now, what's next for Crafti? You have anything up your sleeve? Are you going to be at any conventions where people could maybe buy these right off your hands? What's popping?
Yeah, great question. So we haven't really been focused on the convention schedule for this year. And that's only because we've wanted to keep up with and keep fulfillment times down for our online orders. We are mainly online focused and social media just growing from our posts and word of mouth. And because our products are so customizable, it becomes hard to stock all the options at a physical event when you're there, because people might want different sizes or border colors or backings. We did have the opportunity to do a few local cons last year. We did Vegas, Amazing Con. We did LA Con, like I mentioned. But for right now, what we are trying to build is, as I kind of had alluded to before, is just this network of relationships with other professionals and other people who are trying to be creative like us too. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. Like I don't know what to do with, some of the trolls and the spec books that are hot for no reason, and long-term investments in grades.
Like Spider Boy. Spider Boy.
I don't know what to do with all of the craziness, but I think sometimes people they don't know where to start because it just feels like it's all too much, right? And people get afraid to express what they think is cool or their opinion because they're afraid of being publicly shamed, right? And so
people love what they love, man. You gotta stop that.
They love what they love, and it's gotten so crazy. But I think if we work together, as a community, and maybe if you're a presser out there, right, and you want to offer something unique to your customers instead of sending stuff away, how about you do a page-by-page walkthrough of the book, talking about every specific condition of it before it's pressed or after it's pressed?
Oh, actually, someone wrote a book about pressing.
That's right.
Techniques and all that. So
I see more people getting into it all the time, right? So we just want to work with more people that are looking to be creative and to become more self-sufficient. We are working and kind of talking to a number of artists and writers out there currently who have our products. We're kind of going through. We do have a proposal too. So if anyone's interested in reviewing our proposal for how you could work with us and how you could essentially create your own good, better, and best models to offer your audiences these unique digital experiences that are tied to physical collectibles, just hit us up. More than happy to send it on over to anyone.
You hear this, folks? So if you got a business brain, you got something going on and you're serious. There ain't no games. You see the man who's serious, making things pop. And when they create that network, that worldwide web of community, with a positive mission at hand, contact Dan, all right? Again, let me show you one last time. Facebook and Instagram at Crafti Comics with an I, all right? Crafti Comics.
And don't be stressed if you're just a one-person show, too. Like I was talking to a successful artist that I follow on Instagram the other day who originally kind of said no to our proposal, and in having a few email exchanges back and forth, turned it into a, hey, let's talk, because just like me, everyone's hustling. Right? Everyone's working as hard as they can. And sometimes it feels like you got so many plates spit in the air that you couldn't possibly do one more thing. And that's when I told him, I've got a 5,000 square foot facility to work with, and I've got a team, and we've got fulfillment capabilities, but your art adds the value. I can only create unique preservation, tools and experiences. I'm not an artist. I'm not a comic creator, right? That's really what should be driving the value, not some third-party company's opinion and faceless grader where you'll never get transparency into their thought process. Like the real value is driven from the creators and the collectible itself. And once we started talking about that, it's like, okay, let's talk and figure out how we can fill in each other's our gaps, right? And so I would encourage anyone, don't feel like you're too small or you're too busy as it is. Like, let's just get the conversation going and see if we can't do something, exciting together.
And that is so the truth, because everything begins with a conversation, ideas, an exchange, that frequency, that energy. When that connects, it's a wrap, folks. It's some real shit. You got to listen to the man. He's talking some real business. All right. So, all right, great. So thank you for your time, Dan. I appreciate you talking to us, talking about your products. Please, folks, again, the link is below. Make sure to show the love, support the man, Dan, and the company. All right. And again, if you are an entrepreneur with a vision as well, and you're thinking maybe, hey, you need to build your web, Dan is the man for you right here. Crafti Comics with an I. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate you. Check out my extended family, Undercover Capes, all the amazing shows like Outside the Panels, the Friend Crusade, No Prize Podcast, Old Timers Comic Book Show, and K-Pop Cosmo. Right? Yeah, we even have more than that. Exactly. We got it popping, folks. All right. And with that, I'm out. Hasta la próxima. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.